The dictionary defines stereotype as an oversimplified image or opinion, but maybe a better definition is an excuse. It can be an excuse for hatred, or worse, violence.
It's hard for me to imagine that I actually lived back here and survived.
Matthew Boger grew up literally on the streets of Los Angeles. As a teen, he slept in this West Hollywood park. 20 years later, teens still live here.
This is where I used to sleep. This was my bedroom. This is my whole life, basically for almost about 4.5 years.
He lived here because his mother kicked him out of the house when he told her he was gay. He was 13 at the time.
Her response was, "You will not live your life in sin in this house." So she packed a bag and she said, "I don't know what you're going to do, but you're not going to do it here."
So what did you do?
I slept in parks, I slept in the building ways. I, did what I could to make some money, things I'm not proud of, and made the best I could and figured out how I was going to survive.
One night, when he was 14, he was hanging out at a hamburger stand with other street kids when a group of white supremacists confronted them.
Near the corner, I could see the group coming, yelling, "Let's kill the faggots. We're going to kill the faggots."
The group beat Matthew badly.
They beat me, punched me, kicked me. When I came to, I leaned against this wall, and all I saw across this whole area was just my blood.
Matthew survived the beating. He later went back to school and became a hair colorist. He also took a job at the Museum of Tolerance in Los Angeles. It tackles many forms of discrimination.
We'll go and kill them, murder them. We won't leave a single Jew.
Museum volunteer Eddie Elon is a Holocaust survivor. He shows visitors a wall of pictures, the Holocaust's littlest victims.
Over here, there's only one little boy that is alive. You're going to have to find him.
He's right there.
No.
That one.
Yeah, you found a little boy.
You?
Yeah, that's me. They killed my father, my mother, 3 sisters. I was the only one left alive, so I had to escape.
Today, there are still organized groups who promote Nazi ideas. Tim Zaal was a white supremacist for 17 years.
So why'd you change?
I grew up. I had a child. Eventually, I separated myself from the movement by telling them I was moving out of the area to move my family to a nice white area.
And why did you choose to do that?
Because I realized that it was the destructive path. I mean, what was going to be next? I had already been charged for a hate crime by this time in my life.
That's him in the white shirt in court. Tim spent a year in jail for beating up an Iranian man.
I thought it was time that I started to pay back for my past, and I contacted the Museum of Tolerance, and that's when I met Matthew.
Today, Tim also works at the Museum of Tolerance, a far cry from his days with the white Aryan resistance when he shouted things like,
"Kike, nigger, spick, wetback. What are you doing here? This is my country. You're stealing my jobs."
You beat a lot of people up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was a rush. It was my duty to subjugate somebody, to put somebody else in a lower position.
So why'd you...
Made me feel great.
One day you have lunch with Tim.
We started talking about our life as teenagers. And he started talking about the one place in Hollywood where they used to go by and taunt these kids. And I just sat there quietly, kept asking questions, because I had already suspected.
It was then that Matthew realized that one of the men who beat him up in that alley was Tim.
So I kept asking questions, and what'd you do? And was that all you did, was taunt and tease? No, there was this one night, and basically I stopped it with this question. I said, "You realize who I am, who you're sitting across from?"
What happened?
We kind of just looked at each other sort of numbingly, I guess.
I ended the conversation. I said, "I have to get back to the museum now."
Bye.
Now you guys are friends?
Not overnight. Yes.
This summer, we asked them to go back to the alley where the beating took place.
I kicked you in the forehead, and you were not moving anymore.
At that time, Tim didn't even know if Matthew was alive or dead.
I didn't really care.
Today, Matthew and Tim lecture together at the museum.
My name's Tim Zaal. I'm a former racist. If I can change and stand up and be a positive role model, then anybody can.
Their story has a powerful effect.
I just wanted to thank you.
You're
so
very
much.
welcome.
You
It's like-
just touched a soft spot in my heart.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah, I know.
Matthew recently celebrated his 40th birthday. It's a long way since his days on the street.
This was great seeing you. Happy birthday.
And for Tim, hanging out with a crowd of gay men, it's a long way from his days as a white supremacist.
You guys are your friends? You
Sure,
hang
yeah.
out together? But he's gay.
So? He's a human being, isn't he? He's a nice guy.
You hated gays. You beat him up.
I hated a lot of people. I hated Jews, and I'm working for the Museum of Tolerance now. I made a complete change in my life.
That's our program for tonight. Maybe this hour will inspire you to change your life, or perhaps what you believe. I hope we've cleared up some of the myths about stereotypes, or at least started a conversation about them. And we cover many more myths in 2020's new Myths book, Myths, Lies, and Downright Stupidity. Coming up on Nightline, the unsolved murder that's become a new movie, the story of the Black Dahlia, a young woman